I'm Kendren Smith, and you listen to the Cavalier Connection podcast. Tune in.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lowe, joined as always by my dad, Jeff Lowe, and Jay Ballard. Tonight, we'll talk about the victorious Virginia Cavaliers over the Virginia Tech Hokies. We get to share our interview with our new transfer out of Penn, Kendren Smith, and make our playoff edition of NFL picks. Dad, how are you tonight?
Doing good. Finally, happy to start a podcast after a win for a change.
That's right. Jay?
Yeah, nothing finer than when you get to say a win over the Virginia Tech Hokies. So excited, happy, and ready to go.
Yeah, I think
Jay,
that...
Jay, we're Seinfeld people. When you said nothing finer
than eating in your diner.
That's what I thought you were about to say.
I almost went there, Jeff. We're right on with each other. I'm telling you, because I started to go there with that,
right.
And then I said, "It doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna go."
Right.
And I wasn't quick enough to think of a rhyme. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say. So I think with the win tonight, UVA is 6-1 in the Commonwealth Clash this year, which just shows we beat him in almost every single sport, but of course the one that matters most, we just can't seem to get the win in. Hopefully that'll change this year. But that was really interesting.
We're not talking about that tonight, Jack. Yeah. Tonight is about victory.
Tonight is about victory.
V is for victory.
And about the future of the football team. That's what tonight's for. So I think we hop right into the basketball game. I mean, they seem to play pretty good. I know it was a home game. They continue the home streak. They seem to play all four quarters, both halves very well. The offense seemed to get going. Now it fell apart a little bit in the second half, but the defense, I mean, just seemed excellent. And a part of it, I think, was Virginia Tech just committing turnovers, not making shots, just silly mistakes. But the defense was on point. That's what I like to see. Jay, you got your first thoughts?
Yeah, I was very impressed tonight. Longest winning streak at home in the country. That was number 20 in a row. So it's it's hard to come into JPJ and get a win. And so was really happy for a few of the guys. Jordan Minor, 16 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. Just a huge lift. And tonight is a good podcast. I'm not going to harp on the fact that man wasn't playing at all in some games, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here earlier in the year. Certainly, he must have improved a ton in practice because he, even though he's not as tall as you'd like to see in the Atlantic Coast Conference playing in the 5 spot, the man's thick. And even against the taller competition, he doesn't give up a lot of easy stuff. So happy for him. Reese played really well, steady as he normally does, 38 minutes. So it did seem like he tired a little bit down the stretch. But I think everybody had a little something in their step tonight. Even the guys that didn't necessarily play well. It was great to have Dante Harris back. I thought he gave us a big lift. Just everything seems to, at home, be, the cuts are just more precise. Everything seems more, just more in rhythm. And I don't know why we can't take it on the road. But again, great win tonight. I don't want to take everything. So Jeff, you go ahead and give your thoughts, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, Minor, I thought, heck of a game. I think, what you hear or whatever, maybe I guess at Merrimack he played that zone defense and trying to adapt to this defense. But he's such a big difference. His size, Jack was talking about game we played NC State with Burns. If you can put that weight on defense, we haven't had to double team in the post. And that's right, where those threes were getting popped in the corner. Makes a huge difference. And then, I accidentally called him Gardner tonight when we were watching the game. Back, and I said, put it up, Gardner, or something like that. And I was like, oh, dang. Because, they got the same frame. It just reminds me of Gardner, the frame. Buchanan came in and gave some nice minutes tonight as well, I thought.
Big baskets down the stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. And even earlier, I thought his minutes were good earlier, too. He when him and Groves played together, and then
Mhm.
that size inside was helping on defense. And then Harris was a huge lift. I think, man, I just hope there's good things to come with Harris playing. It just helps Beekman so much. Beekman's had to work so hard all year long, and he just looks fatigued. There's games where he comes out there and he's has some bad games with some turnovers that is not um, normal for him. And I think he's just tired. He's had to do so much, and having somebody else who can bring the ball down the floor. And Dante Harris is quick in that defense, um, and he's just coming off this injury. So hopefully, there's even better to come. I think he's a huge lift. I think I would love to see him go. Let's go him and Beekman start, and
Yeah.
Rhodey out, and roll with those two, Dunn, McNeely, and Minor, and just see what we got. But like we said, we're Jekyll and Hyde, home and away. Tonight we were Jekyll. We go to Georgia Tech Saturday. Hopefully we don't hide. But we could just, if we could pull off a true road win, it could just light bulb mentally, things could happen. So the other thing that I wanted to mention on a positive note for the basketball team is the rebounding has really improved a lot. Even I looked up the Wake Forest game, and we were out rebounded by 15. However, that's because we missed everything. And if you look at offense, we out rebounded them on the offensive boards, and that we've been getting murdered on the offensive glass all year. Up until they've definitely figured some stuff out there, and that's huge. Tonight, I think we finished tied in rebounds, team rebounds.
I think we had a 1 rebound advantage, 33-32.
I knew it was close. So I think we've cleaned up a lot of that. Look, it's best we do the podcast tonight. If we had done it Saturday, then there's a different feel coming in. So, or if we did it, earlier in the week. So, Jekyll and Hyde, home and away, and tonight was a good night. And so we're going to be happy with this. And anytime you beat Virginia Tech in anything, it's a great night. So
Yeah.
I'm happy about it. What did you say? We're 5-1, 6-1.
I believe we're
in the
6-1 after tonight.
6-1,
So it
6-1.
shows. We're beating them in about every sport.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys
Football's
saw
coming.
the Twitter exchange that I had last night with somebody. I commented on the NC State kid that flicked off the ref, double birds.
Oh yeah,
Did you
I
guys
saw
see
that. Mm-hmm.
Nah.
And I said things that you wouldn't see in a Tony Bennett player for 1,000, Alex. And then a Virginia Tech fan comes in, and one of the segments that we got planned, not for tonight but coming, is stupid things a Hokie would say. This would make the list, and it was something along the lines of never winning a road game, something a Tony Bennett team would never do. And so then we started, I said
Jay started Twitter beef.
Yeah, he copy and pasted a picture of the football score. And I'm like, oh, isn't that precious? They taught you how to copy and paste at Tech. Is that a master's program? But I love to shut those people up.
And Jay, that guy does realize Virginia Tech hasn't won a true road game this year either.
I don't know why you didn't say that.
It was on
gonna
TV
say
tonight.
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing.
Tech hasn't won a road game this year either.
So I don't know why you didn't go with that, Jay. That would have been a much better.
Because I was unaware. That's why.
No, that's fine.
And I wouldn't have been aware either. But it's
no, I wouldn't either. Yeah, it just so happened to be on the TV screen.
On the game, couple of storylines that you're going to be reading about on the message boards, so we might as well address them. Gertrude 0 minutes, Bond 5 minutes. Tane Murray only got 3 tonight. So I know we all agree with Tane getting 3. And honestly, if Tane got if he got 5 to 7, I'm fine with that. I don't think he's a total bench warmer. But I'm fine if he is. But Jack, what do you think? Gertrude, Bond, no minutes? What do you think?
Yeah, I would have liked, you guys are kind of exchanging the group text towards like the 7-minute mark to get Beekman out for a couple minutes before the final crunch time. I would have liked Gertrude to see some minutes there maybe. Even Bond too. I I liked Bond a lot early this year, and I really wish that he'd get more minutes that he deserves. That mid-range shot I love a lot, old school basketball. But I've been liking the two of them, and they just have gotten no respect over the last few weeks. And I just think, at the very least, some minutes, not blanking them for nothing. I think they deserve some role minutes. But Dad,
Well, I was gonna say I'd be a little bit opposite of you. I would have liked to seen them get minutes earlier in the game because you
That's
can't
what I
bring
was gonna
Gertrude
say.
in with 7 minutes to go. He's cold in a tight game, and
Yeah.
and I think this is where so these games we've gotten blown out on the road. Things have not been good pretty much the whole game. Get them the minutes then, get them the experience then, so that in a close game, and maybe you can trust them. But I would have said first half tonight. Bond came in the first half. Get them minutes in the first half. In crunch time, I'm with Bennett, sitting him down and going with the veterans. These games that are blowouts, these things, stuff isn't working. So why not try something else? And that's where I feel the
yeah,
Gertrudes and the Bonds should be getting the minutes. I mean, Buchanan got I don't know how many minutes he had tonight, but he had a good little run of minutes.
He got 11,
He had 11,
and
and
that's about right.
He's been playing the last few games. I see Gertrude as a 10 or 11 minute man right now, especially with Harris coming back, and the same for Bond. And then when it's crunch time, you go with your guys. You go with your
Right.
Beekman, your Harris, your veterans, Beekman, Harris, McNeely, um,
And
uh,
Miner's been through the wars.
Minor and Dunn, Minor and Dunn,
Yeah.
and you roll with those guys.
yeah.
And so that's where we are. If you asked me on Saturday, I mean, I would have been a lot more vocal than I'm being tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One thing
You
that
know, something.
I think I think the chances of Gertrude getting really key minutes this year is almost nil.
They're go-
that
they're done.
that's
It's
what I was gonna
almost
say. The
done.
thing that concerns me is we're getting right in the heat of ACC play, and this is around the time when we talked about Bennett will limit down the rotation. And it doesn't expand anymore, and if he's already limiting Gertrude and Bond to basically nothing, I don't really see him giving them minutes down the line, especially in the key games too.
Unless
Now
the
the question
situation.
is he the kid that will stay and
Right.
reap the benefits of the learning that is occurring, or is he a kid that knows his talent level and knows, hey, I could go somewhere else and play immediately? And it comes down
Hopefully,
to a lot of times, what do you value? If you're here for the long haul, sitting is not a bad thing. Now, the bad thing may be that we burned his red shirt
Yeah,
because
really.
I don't think he won us a game. I don't think playing him when Harris got hurt really won us any games. And ideally, when you burn that red shirt by March, he's a key contributor. And I think it's going the opposite way. So it may be that, he may not be a 4-year kid anyway. Because you look at a
right.
kid like
That's what I'm
Dunn, we
thinking.
don't
Yeah.
we don't see him as an NBA. I mean, I don't think he's an NBA player, but the NBA scouts do. And
Right.
it could be the same thing with Gertrude. He gets some minutes, and then all of a sudden, the NBA likes what they see. The only difference is Gertrude's not big.
Mhm.
He's athletic. He's not big,
Yeah.
and he's not a good shooter of the basketball yet. So,
But if
um,
he looks at the depth chart and what's in front of him for next year, you've got Beekman's leaving and Harris is gone. Like it's your time.
right,
If you
that's your
stick it
time.
out, and that's how we're thinking, and you'd like to think he's going to think that way. Like I'm going to get my shot, and next year if my shot don't come, then I'm out. But, I mean, and you never know what could happen. Last year, Cedric got this exact treatment, and then when the tournament rolled around, we needed him. Like I don't
Yeah,
even remember what happened, but he had to play, and he showed out, and just something could happen that would lead to him playing, and he could show
right.
out and leave, or he could show out and be here for next year, or he might just be done. I think he's done for the year, for the
I
most
really,
part, other than
I really
garbage
wish,
minutes.
basketball had a similar rule to football.
Oh
Where
yeah,
they could
Where you
play
get like
four
three
games.
games or 4 games, yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
I don't know why
Or if at the very
basketball
least like 1 or 2 games, because I understand.
well,
I don't know. Go ahead.
I was to say basketball should be like 6 or 8.
yeah,
If you
but
look
they
at a
play a lot
comparison
more.
of Right. So I mean, I don't know why put it at 10 games,
Right.
or even set a minutes limit. So if they put, because but
Right.
do something so that you don't burn this redshirt year. But
Yeah.
I'm just excited. It's a big win. We don't even need to talk about Wake Forest because that's in the past.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech Saturday, and I'm Mr. Pessimistic of the three of us. I'm Mr. Pessimism. But at this moment,
Oh, yeah.
I
We're
feel
going
like
to the
we have an
tournament.
opportunity to go into Georgia Tech and finally get a road win. And like you said, Jeff,
Yeah.
I think if we just get one, you got to get that monkey off the back.
We have to know we can do it.
Yeah.
On to football. We actually had the opportunity to talk to all Ivy League corner Kendren Smith, who just transferred out of Penn University. Let's sit down to hear what he had to say. With us tonight is 2023 All Ivy League corner, recent Ivy League graduate, and one of the exciting transfer portal commits to Coach Elliott, Kendren Smith. How are you doing tonight, Kendren?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited.
No problem. We thank you. Thank you for coming on. We always appreciate a great guest. We are so excited to have you on and appreciate your time. So, how was the moving process? You getting all settled in?
Yeah, I came here this past Friday. It's been good. Got to room with some other older guys as well. So I think that's good for me to get acclimated and see that older guy picture and just come from some experienced veterans on the team. So and they've been good guys too. So Jonas Sanker, the all Ivy safety too. I'm rooming with him, and then James Jackson, the linebacker, and another DB, Micah. Micah, I think his last name Gaffney. But
Mm-hmm.
those three are some good dudes. I met all of them and connected with them. So it'd be good to have some good people to connect with before I get on the team and get acclimated tomorrow, on Wednesday. So
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Now, what did you study at Penn, and what are you planning on studying at UVA?
I majored in poli sci, so political science. Um,
Awesome.
kind of got thrown into it. I wanted to do econ. That didn't work out. That math hit me like a truck. So I kind of went to
I know
Taylor and
that.
stuff.
It's
Um,
tough.
little interesting. Poli sci was a lot of interesting just to understand the government and a lot of even go further on from like international affairs and stuff like that. Probably wouldn't be a politician looking to do something, but after football, after NFL, hopefully like financial um, management, wealth management. I think that's interesting for me, especially helping out players manage their money and long term wise. So that's a big thing for me. So and then I'm getting my grad certificate in the Baton School in public policy and leadership. So I think that was a good program for me to get in and further my education.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Now, you were a team captain at Penn, so what would you say is your leadership style, and why do you think you were selected as a captain?
Um, I would say my leadership style it kind of shifted. Um, because I was a leader by example early on because I played as a freshman. So I think that allowed me to kind of slowly matriculate into that leadership role. So I like to lead, be a vocal leader because I feel like, especially for the young guys, I feel like that's a big thing. But I try to find a balance because there's a lot of guys that can be a rah rah guy and just say stuff just to say stuff. But you have to you can't let your voice be drowned out by how many times you speak. So you have to when you speak, you need to be intentional and do things the right way. So I think I try to find that balance, and also like great leaders listen. So I think actually listen to the guys, um, younger guys, because it's easy to listen to guys that you came in with because those are your friends. But when you listen to the people that might have an opposing opinion, that makes you a better leader in the first place. So I think that's
Absolutely.
what kind of tailors it to my leadership style as well. So what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
Uh, why do you think you were selected as a captain at Penn?
I think just being giving blood, sweat, and tears to the program, and making plays for 4 years. I think that's what allowed the guys to vote for me. I think that's what tailored to it, allow my actions to speak more than my words, and they just felt like I was a captain at that point.
Awesome, awesome. Jay?
Yeah, Kendra, so glad to have you. Um, I can tell you and Coach Elliott are going to get along great. The two of you, it sounds like you've already had deep conversations with him because, a lot of things he says are very similar to things you've said already.
Yeah.
So you were obviously playing really well at Penn. At what point did you decide, hey, I think I might want to get into the portal and maybe move on to maybe a Power Five school, or was it even a Power Five school that you were really looking for, or just another opportunity?
I think at first it was just another opportunity. I think Power Five is always appealing, but the grass isn't always greener. So I wanted to find the right opportunity, like a lot of transfers, especially like a lot of grad transfers that's looking to go to the NFL. I think you just need that right opportunity, the right people leaving, the right people coming, the right culture. So I think I found that, or I know I found that at UVA. My first speaking to Coach Elliott, Coach Cox recruited me, Coach Rev recruited me. I think that was a big thing that attracted me to them. I had some other group of five offers that had similar opportunities, but when you have the same opportunity, but one's P5 and one's even a better culture, why not take that shot at the end of the day? At the end of the day, you have to bet on yourself. So because there's no reward without no risk. So I fell in love with this program just for seeing these couple visits and coming up to some games. I like that. I like the environment. I'm enjoying. I'm excited to be at Wahoo. So
Oh yeah. So you say you got to come to some games? Was that last year? Or?
yeah, I came to the last game, the Tech game.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it wasn't really the result, but it's
Right.
from a player's aspect. I saw some promising things, even though it's hard to see. But I know from a player aspect, I've seen some things that show some opportunity, especially from my position at DB, but just as a team in general. So not a lot of people can see that through those type of circumstances as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did you actually enter the portal then, and then how long did it take UVA to get in on you?
I entered the portal about a week after our season ended. So our season ended kind of right before Thanksgiving. We
Okay.
ended Ivy League ends a lot earlier because it's only 10 game season.
Okay.
So that gave me a little bit more time to kind of gauge the situation. But UVA started recruiting me early. I would say Coach Rudd reached out the day before Thanksgiving
Oh,
um,
wow.
on that Wednesday night before the last game,
Yep.
and he just said we really like you, want to keep in contact, want to stay in contact. And then Coach E wants to get me on a visit. He wants to plan that out because I like his way of recruiting too. He doesn't want to. They didn't really want to just throw out offers. A lot of guys just throw out offers because they either see some other school doing that or they just see their talent and just don't even want to have a real conversation first. I had some schools that, even though I'm appreciative, I had some schools just offer me just straight off the bat with one phone call, just like you don't even know me, you don't even know how many siblings I have. So just stuff like that. So I kind of like, even though from a player's aspect, it's hard to see, but I appreciated how long they took in their kind of process. Even though they talked to me early, how long they took in the process to get to know the player first, so they know who's coming to the program, and so I know who I'm getting out of coaches as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that makes me as a fan and supporter feel
Yeah.
good that they're not just throwing offers out there, and they're looking at people for the people, not just the athlete. So who else did offer you? And then I guess the second part of that was NIL. That's a huge topic now. Was that brought up at all in any of the talks or anything like that?
Uh, I would say in some of the talks, I had about, I would say like close to 12 offers,
Oh
a good
wow.
amount of group of five offers. Uh,
Anybody
and
else you closely considered?
I consider FAU just
Okay.
off one of the opportunity. They had a lot of guys leaving, new coaching staff, so the kind of record didn't display who the actual program was, and then the situation training in Florida, and then having some NFL coaches. But like I said, UVA had NFL DB coach, has a lot of NFL opportunity as well, and playing on the
Absolutely.
big stage, playing big schools. So I think that was kind of the deal breaker. I fell in love with FAU too, but man, I love UVA, man. So I can't get. I like it. I liked everything about it. So has FAU, had North Texas, a lot of American schools, and a lot of Sun Belt schools, and then
Mhm.
some of the P5s was it had Vandy and Iowa State looking at me heavy,
Oh,
but by then I was already committed to the UVA. Already made my decision early before I announced, so I kind of
So
didn't really.
NIL wasn't really an issue or anything that was used as a recruiting tool, I guess.
I mean, somewhat, but it didn't really have that much factor on me because I had my 4 years of college without NIL, so it's not really a big thing. I just wanted a pure opportunity because I could have I could have declared after this year because I've had like several scouts between me and my other teammate, the D lineman that transferred to Slackman. But between me and him, we had enough to do a pro day, but we just wanted to have another opportunity. I wanted to play at a bigger stage, and he got injured, so he kind of had to come back. So it kind of worked out for both of us. So I know his situation was a lot of NIL, but I didn't really focus on that at the end of the day.
So what would you say your strengths as a cornerback are?
I would say to be all around. I played the run game really well. I played the blitz game really well. I understand offense um, from an offensive perspective, not a defensive perspective too. Just from playing early on, but just having a lot of experience on my belt. I think that's what I offer to the game because I can play the run and the pass. I can hit running backs up high and I can guard receivers. So I'm excited to see where UVA uses me, whether it's safety, nickel, or boundary corner. It doesn't matter. So I think I'm versatile in that aspect.
Now, did they give you any critique on, hey, we think you can make you better in this particular area or anything like that?
I think it's just fundamentals, just working on technique and fundamentals. I think because I have a lot of raw talent, I think that's what they liked about me because I was just a lot of times I was just literally just way more athletic than the person in front of me playing in the Ivy League. So I
Gotcha.
think just what I've been working on this past off season, even before report date, just cleaning up technique. Just that you can always do that, become more consistent. Because
Sure.
they obviously wouldn't recruit me if they didn't see it in my film. It's just becoming more consistent with it. But besides that,
Right.
that's pretty much it.
Any particular NFL corner you like to study or model your game after?
I like a lot. I like even though we're not the same height weight. I love Jair. Jair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's
had a
also
nice play yesterday.
yeah he did, and he's also from Charlotte too. He's from around the way too. So
Okay, yeah.
that's him. Obviously Jalen Ramsey, man. Jalen Ramsey. He's an all-purpose DB. He can play a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of positions. So him and Jair is one of my two favorites.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just got a few questions for you, and then I think Jack will get us out of here. We don't want to take too much of your time.
No, you were just talking about how you were more athletic than a lot of guys playing in the Ivy League. I was just wondering, is there a chip on your shoulder to prove that you can compete at this Power Five school and against Power Five schools? Does that
Yeah, I would say a slight chip on my shoulder. But I kind of found my way in terms of my internal motivation. I think it's more proving myself right than proving other people wrong. I think it's just I think it's just proving myself right because I know I have it in me. I've had some P5 recruit me out of high school too, but at the end of the day, like we all know, stars don't mean anything. It's just about
That's right.
more proving myself right and really just being where my feet are each and every day, and then just taking advantage of the opportunities because opportunities will be there. So I think that's pretty much it.
Cool. Well, I know we got one transfer tight end out of Harvard, Tyler Neville.
Yeah,
Did you remember playing against him? You got
yeah. I
to
remember
meet
playing
him.
against him. He's a good player. He's an all around tight end. He can block, he can catch, he can do a lot of things. So I think that's what was really enticing for him and a lot of his offers as well. He's all around tight end. So I'm excited to meet up with him this summer.
I would say that was a big pickup for us too. We needed some help in the tight end room. I know it looked like y'all had an exciting game. I know y'all came up on the short end, but would y'all play like double overtime or something?
It was triple overtime.
Triple overtime.
It was triple overtime. And even to get overtime, we had a crazy stop. We had a goal line stop. It was first and goal at the one. We had a
Oh
goal line.
wow!
Yeah,
My
it was
God.
it
No
was
tush push.
and no tush push. And
No
then
tush push.
and the most annoying thing about it is that we lost. We're a Philly team. We lost on a Philly special.
Oh
Oh
no!
man.
And
Dang, that's
part of the reason why we lost it too was because like towards the especially towards like the later half of the season, I started following the number one receiver. So, but I would mainly play boundary early on. But like whether the game's going, they have me follow receiver. So the receiver's on the other side, and the corner has never worked that Philly special on the opposite side. No, not excuses, but he's just never worked it the whole season.
right.
So then that what are the cases in? And he just ended up running with the receiver instead of passing it off, and he just
Right.
passed it to the quarterback for a touchdown. It was
Dang.
horrible. But
Yeah,
it was
that's tough.
exciting. It was one of the most exciting games I've been a part of. But I want
That's
to be on
cool.
the winning side though. Sure.
So are you an Eagle fan?
A little bit. I only been growing an Eagle fan just because of the locals, so hopefully they win. But I know the Bucks
Right.
happen a little bit later.
Yeah, I say I know. I think it's a 7 point game at halftime right now, or
But I've been
close.
a
Yeah, closing in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I've been a Texas fan though. 'Cause I was born in Houston, Katy area as well.
Okay.
So born in Houston, raised in Charlotte. But I like the Texans, man. So Texans, Carolina, kind of back and
Oh
forth.
yeah. Well, you got something to be excited about with Houston.
Yeah, definitely. CJ
C.J.
Stroud,
Stroud, and
he got
man,
that
they look
arm.
good.
Yeah. It sucks Tank Dell got hurt, but they got a lot of promising people though, especially that defense. Darius Steen is a good corner too. Definitely
Yeah.
like him too.
I didn't expect them to beat Cleveland like that at all,
Oh yeah,
but
they gave it to
dang.
him.
And Cleveland's got a good defense for them to score on them like that. I
They
couldn't believe it.
they're
Oh
surprising
man.
a lot of people though. Him and CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryan. So they got a good
Oh
combo.
yeah.
So that's some real history being
That's
made.
right. That's right. Yeah. UVA. So they basically had to reinvent the defensive back room since the end of last season. Lots of guys with a lot to prove. How does that competition drive your game?
I think it'll make Lord willing, you get that spot and you beat out those guys. I think it makes it that much sweeter and it makes it that much more confident because you know you have a lot of talent coming in and the talent around you when they need some people to win and step into the plate. So I think that just makes you even more prepared for the season when you know you have older guys in the room and you know you have guys that's willing to take food off your plate. I think, but you can all come together at the end of the day. But you know, at the end of the day, iron sharpens iron. So I
Right.
think knowing that being ready for the first game and tuning up, I think that'll be making you even more prepared. So,
I think that defensive back room. I really like the additions we've made. It's
Yeah.
really exciting. So I can't wait.
yeah.
Last question for me. And you already kind of mentioned this, but amongst the fan base, Virginia Tech gains something we talk about every year. And as an incoming transfer, has anyone mentioned how important the rivalry is?
Uh, Not yet, but I can
You
feel
just
it though.
kind of know. You went to the game last year.
You can feel it. You can feel
Oh yeah,
it's a real hatred for
it
sure.
is. We were at the game, Jack and I, and my goodness, and those Virginia Tech fans were just giving it to us. We weren't saying nothing to anybody,
It's
but
crazy. It's crazy. But we're gonna give it to them this year though, for sure.
I love
I
to hear
like
it.
it. I
I
like to
love to
hear
hear it.
it.
Hey, are you going to be at the JPJ tomorrow night or
Uh,
Wednesday night? I'm sorry.
I think I might though. I think I might for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, they're coming into town, so they need our support.
I definitely get some of the guys to see if we can come hit that game. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jack, you gonna take us out?
Yeah. Really, just one more question or two more questions we had. So I know being a student athlete, it's tough to have some downtime, but when you do get that little bit of downtime, what do you think your favorite hobby is during downtime?
Um, I would say I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. I'm a
Gamer.
homebody. Play a lot of sports games, 2K,
Oh yeah,
Madden,
absolutely.
play some Apex Legends. So I think that kept me out of the way too from partying too much and all that too. So
Oh
I think
good.
that comes together. So I'm a gamer now, just hang around with the friends and families.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
awesome. And then last thing, just any closing thoughts you want to pass on to Wahoo Nation, all the UVA fans that might be listening out there?
No, I'm just excited to get to work. Excited to show my talents on the field and just bring what I can to build this UVA program and to turn it around like I know we can. So I'm excited. I know we have a good thing going on. Coach E, that's one of the people I first fell in love with on the coaching staff because I believe what he believes and he has the right head on his shoulders for sure. So and he knows the direction that this program needs to go, and I think the program is first more than anything. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
just be a piece of it for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Well, we really enjoyed having you on tonight. Thank you so much for your time again. Best wishes for a great spring semester and beginning prep for next season. Thanks a lot for coming on.
For sure. Thank you all.
And there you have it. That was All Ivy League corner Kendren Smith out of Penn University. Dad, what were your first thoughts coming out of that interview?
Um, it's exciting to get him into the room. 4 year starter at Penn. He was a pleasure to talk to. Just a pleasure to talk to. Very personable. He said, I like what he said about being a captain. Reason he was selected, blood, sweat, and tears. You know, your captains are always like your quarterbacks, and to get that corner in there, and they voted him with, they see his effort for the program, and being a 4 year starter, getting that kind of experience is huge. Some other takes, and we've heard he's not the first one, is what people are saying about Tony Elliott. And
Yeah.
th- th- these guys are really high on him. And I did really like to hear how he talked about he wasn't just like called and given an offer. Elliott is doing his homework on
Yes.
these guys, talking to these guys, discussing kind of a role with these players and how we see them as a part of our offense. I mean, our defense for him, for example, we're just not throwing willy nilly offers out there. Like there's time being taken. I did like that. And the last thing I was just going to mention is I could definitely, talking to him, you could hear he has a love and a passion and an affection for UVA.
Yeah.
He sounds very excited about coming to Virginia, and that's exciting. You want somebody who wants to be here. We know he's a smart guy. He went to Penn, and now he's at UVA. He's got the brains, and now hopefully we're going to benefit from him on the field. He was a thrill to talk to. How about you, Jay? What were your takes?
Yeah, he was very impressive. He used one of my favorite quotes, and it's "Be where your feet are." You know, it's real hard, and one of the things he talked about too um, was being able to lead by example, um, not being just a rah rah guy. All of these things, and like you say, I even said in the interview, it sounded like some of the things were like Tony Elliott talking to a player, and they haven't been around each other that much
Right.
at this point. So super impressed. One thing I also noted was, do you remember when he said Coach Rudd called him or first got in touch with him?
Yeah,
The day
I know
before
exactly
Christmas.
where you're going.
I mean, think about the dedication that these guys, coaches, I mean, players too, because, but there's never a time off
Yeah.
in this day and age. I mean, our coaches, not only are they preparing for tech, they're looking at who's in the portal, from the Ivy League,
Yeah.
because their year's over. And if you don't do that, you're going to fall behind. So,
We talked about that last week. We were talking about how coaches in college this is a tough job. You're recruiting high
Yep.
schoolers, you're recruiting your own players each year, and you're recruiting the portal. And it's a nonstop job. You got to
And not
please
to
the
mention coaching.
donors,
Yeah.
and it's a tough gig.
Hmm.
yeah, but he was so personable. He's got a plan for his life. I don't know if this was after the interview when we were talking or during the interview, but talking about kind of being a homebody.
Yep.
That was one of the things. Mikhail Boley kind of said the same thing. These guys they're good guys, and you want to root for them. And you want to
Yeah.
see them go out and do well. Just doing this podcast has honestly changed my fanhood if I'm being
No
honest.
question about it. No question about it.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level when you kind of get to know these people. The very little bit that we do in speaking with them is a whole new respect for them, and then just a love of the program.
Yes.
They bleed orange and blue, and you know, you just got to respect all the effort that they put into building a program that we can be proud of as fans.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, kind of similar to what you just said. The more we talk to him, the more respect I have for the coaching staff and Coach Elliott too. I've really turned on Coach Elliott. He's seems to be doing a great job. The whole coaching staff of the recruiting process. Something I told you guys after the interview yesterday that I caught on to is he said he was at that Tech game despite the the bad game itself. He as a player was able to see some stuff that they can work with, which I thought was interesting because if you guys remember that Isaiah Robinson, the 4-star receiver commit we got like a month ago now, however long ago it was, he said the same thing to me that he sees stuff in the program, some pieces that can be put together to be a special program. That's something that I really think is interesting. Just it gives me a lot of hope that this team can win some football games next year because they all seem to be gelling together really well right now.
Yeah.
And like all we are, and like you said, Jay, doing this podcast helps change your perspective. We're just armchair quarterbacks,
Yep.
Monday morning quarterbacks. and now being able to talk to some of these guys, and these are from players' perspectives. It gives you a newfound respect for the program, the coaching staff, and like you said, what it takes to build a program. And Tony Elliott, he seems I like what he's been doing, and I think he had is by no fault of his own, just an unfair shake at this thing in the beginning between you come in your first year, you're handed a roster. Bronco Mendenhall handed this roster over to you. These aren't your guys. And
Mm,
then you have, the unfortunate shooting that happened that ends the season early. You're dealing, I think I couldn't name a better coach probably to handle that. Just how he handled that
yeah,
whole situation.
absolutely.
And then we during all that, like, what do we expect that man to do? We just talked about you're recruiting your own guys, you're recruiting the portal, you're dealing with three players that were just murdered. There's a lot, and Tony Elliott had a lot on his shoulders, and I can't think of a better human being to handle that situation. And then, last year it was a struggle at the start, but we saw those signs where the program was starting to turn, and now he's going to actually get some of his own recruits in here, and
And there's been some good names too.
we see what he's doing in the transfer portal, and I really think this program is on the rise.
There's something special brewing, I think. I think there is. They got a tough schedule next year too. A very
Oh
tough
yeah,
schedule. They got
it
Clemson at
is.
Clemson. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't name all of it off the top of my head. I know we've looked at it though. It's not gonna be easy.
We're at
But
Notre Dame next year
we're
too,
at
aren't we?
Notre Dame next year. We got Maryland at home, at Clemson, Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, home against North Carolina. And we play some of the new ACC. Like I think we play Cal and Stanford, I believe. So that's just a few. But yeah, we have a tough schedule next year. But I do firmly believe next year and in the coming years, this program can be something special and get some more wins like they did against North Carolina. Some more special wins like that.
Yeah, one thing I said on X was that I hope it's not required, but if it is, we just need to have some patience
I
because,
know.
like you
I
said,
know.
Jeff,
It's so tough.
and it's not going to happen. I can tell you, if we go 3-9 again, people are not going to want to wait around. But then you just restart the whole
Yeah.
process. You got to give this man a chance. You got to give Tony, I would say, this year, next year, and maybe even the year after that. I
Let
mean,
him get
barring
his
a
people.
complete collapse.
Yeah.
And I don't see, like, when I say a complete collapse, I'm not saying you lose games because, last year, how many double digit leads did we have in the second half that we lost? I think it was around five,
Right. Yeah.
4 or 5
Yeah.
anyway.
I know.
So, you got to measure progress, and Coach Bennett always says, yes, we're measured by wins and losses, but you've got to see steps and growth. And if you didn't see growth from the team that had their season shortened to the team that took the field this year, I was only disappointed in the team in one game last year. Really
Yes.
disappointed. I'll say two: the Georgia Tech game and the Virginia Tech game. Other
Mm.
than that, man, those kids,
Left it
were
all out on the
playing
field.
themselves.
Even that
And
Tennessee game, they hung with them for a little bit at least, and that's completely
yeah,
out of
you
their
could tell
league.
there was a talent differential.
Yeah,
We were at
that's
a
out of their.
talent,
That's
you
an
know,
SEC school. You're gonna
yeah, and
struggle
a
in that
good
game.
SEC school. And if we'd have played Tennessee at a different time of the year, I think it could have been different. We
Absolutely.
were starting a brand new offensive line, basically, a quarterback in his first start at the university. We're coming off the tragedy. The guys are probably crying coming out of the tunnel. I mean, that game was just not meant to be like a game where you really think you're going to win. You just want to get through it and have some
Yeah.
positives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I hope that the media and the fans will be patient because I don't know that the record's going to be great this year. It could be. I'm not ruling that out. But I hope patience will prevail.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we want to move on to football.
Yeah,
NFL
the
picks.
NFL football. Yes, yes.
So I'll get us going here if you'd like.
Go for it.
Last week we were 10-8 as a podcast. Um, and what was I? Jay, you were 4-2,
Yep, that's right.
and I was
so
my usual 3-3.
and I tell
And
you,
Jack, what were you?
so I made a statement last week. I said if I go 2-4 or worse, I will go opposite this week. And you know what? If I didn't go 2-0 on Sunday, which got me to 3-3, I didn't go 2-4 or worse, so it's a little better. And you know, the one that kept me from being positive was that Eagles Bills game. But you know what? I'm all right with that. The Eagles lost. I'm okay with that beat. That's fine.
Yeah, Jack, you had hit 3 in a row, so you screwed our listeners. We've been telling them to bet opposite, and so now they bet opposite, and look what you did.
Well, but now they're not going to bet opposite, and we're going to have a great week this week. I can feel
I
it.
guess if they bet opposite, they about broke even. So,
So
but
overall
for the
the
year,
season- yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
for the year, Jay's 19-8. I'm my typical. I'm Jerry. I'm break even. I'm break even Jerry. Um, and Jack, you're 8-19. So it's
Hmm.
been a tough year for you, but you had a good week. So this week we're going to do something just like last week. We're going to pick over unders or spread for the 4 playoff games. And so I guess we'll start off, Jay, if you want to get us started. We got Packers at the 49ers. I guess we could start there. 49ers are 9-point favorite. What you got?
Yeah, it's hard.
I think what over under is, I'm not even sure what that is. But I see you it's -9 49ers right now.
That's a okay. Good.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, the Packers game is one that I missed last week. I took Dallas or I took the under, but I really
How
believe in
about them
Dallas.
Cowboys?
Yeah, we got to enjoy that one.
Yeah.
Um, I was listening on the radio, and Love has just been incredible. He's since I forget the date, but it's like 22 touchdowns
One
and
pick.
one interception or
Yeah.
3 interceptions, something really low.
One.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you're going to give me 9 points with that kind of run and the 49ers coming off of a bye week, and you know you're going to give me 9 points. It's supposed to rain in San Francisco. 9 points is a lot in an NFL game, and I know I said that last week with Buffalo, and I lost that one too. But give me 9 points in the Packers.
All right. Jack, what you got in that game?
Yeah. I had it at 9.5, but I'll change it to 9. That's fine. I'm
Yeah,
also going to be
straight
taking the
change.
Packers +9. I
Oh,
love what
no.
Jordan Love did. Hey, hey, think about last week, all right? I love what Jordan Love did last week. I say last week, it was only a few days ago. Um, I'm with Jay. I think 9's a lot of points. I think the Packers can at least keep it within one possession. Give me the Packers +9.
So I went the opposite of y'all. I feel good going against Jack. Jay's been hot. I'm taking the Niners -9, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm pulling for the Packers to win the game. You know, I was a huge 49er fan until the Eagles and Cowboys got put out. I wanted to make sure they were eliminated, and I knew the 49ers could do that job. So now they're out. Now I can
Still
pull
got
for
no
the
team to
Packers.
worry about.
And the Packers, if they had lost, it'd been the Cowboys. This wouldn't be Cowboys playing, but the Packers wouldn't be in this game. But the 49ers are tough, a good defense. Jordan Love's going to see. Um, I don't know. These were tough games to pick this week, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't bet anything that I'm giving to you. I'm doing this for the
Entertainment purposes
standings,
only.
and I'm going to take the 49ers -9. McCaffrey, Purdy, you got weapons all over. Ayuk, George Kittle got going late in the year, and I think they can score on Green Bay, and we'll just see Green Bay what Green Bay did to Dallas. They're not going to be able to do to San Francisco, run the football like that on them. And that 49er defense is why I'm going to go ahead and take the Niners -9. Next game, we got the Ravens playing the Texans. The over/under is 43.5, I believe, and Ravens are 9-point favorite. Jack, what you got on this one?
Yeah, so I think this one was the second hardest game for me to figure something out. I couldn't go with anything with the spread here, so I decided to take an over under. I just decided to take over 43.5. I think both offenses. What's wrong with that?
No,
I
go
I
ahead.
think both offenses will be lighting it up. We saw what C.J. Stroud did last week against the Browns. Even the Browns have a good defense too, and we've seen what Lamar can do for the last few years when he's been healthy. And I think both quarterbacks are going to be going at it. Going to be over 43.5.
Jay, this is why I was smiling. Jay, what you got?
Oh.
Yeah,
You had to change your
um,
pick?
I'm not sure. I'm still debating as we sit. Jeff, why don't you go ahead?
All right. Oh well. And actually, if Jack matches you, it might be a good thing for Jack because you've been
It
hot.
could, it
But
could
I'm
be.
taking the Ravens -9. And dang, I mean, I did not see the Texans scoring like that last week on the Browns. But the one thing I do know for sure, the Ravens offense is not the Browns offense, and the Ravens are red, flipping hot. I think they're playing better than anybody in the NFL, and I just see them right in that Super Bowl this year. Them are the Bills, and so I'm gonna take Ravens -9. There's no way Houston's gonna do to the Ravens defense what they did to Cleveland's defense in Baltimore. That's a tough environment, and it's gonna be cold. I see Ravens rolling. I wouldn't bet this, but I would take -17 Baltimore. Baltimore's gonna win by double digits, in my opinion. Does that help you any, Jay?
No, no. I was actually debating between Texans plus the points or over 43 and a half.
Okay.
I'm going to stay with over 43 and a half because I
Mm.
think there's a chance that both teams kind of go up and down the field a little bit. Um, the reason I almost took the Texans in that situation was because I heard earlier today in games that Lamar is a 7 point favorite or more, they're 1-9 covering that spread. But the one was against the Texans to open the year. So, but that being said, I think that the Texans do keep that offense moving this week. I think they score enough, and I do think the Ravens win the game, but I'll take over 43.5.
All right. You and Jack are hand in hand tonight.
Oh God.
I need to catch up. I need to gain some ground on Jay, and this is my opportunity.
I need to gain some
Uh,
ground, and it's not going to happen with this.
we got Buccaneers at Detroit. Detroit's a 6.5 point favorite. Um, I don't know what the over under is on that one. Did you, Jack? What was your pick there in the Lions?
I'm taking the Lions -6. The Bucks did play well against the Eagles, but at the same time, the Eagles have not been great at all, and the Eagles, I think, are terrible, to be honest with you. The Lions, meanwhile, are coming off of a good win against the Rams. They've been great all season. I like the Lions -6
So
and
would
a
you take
half,
them?
6.5.
I was about to ask that because
I took it as 6 is what I saw, but
it
everybody's
just
seeing different stuff.
the
So
just so for the general public, the spreads we've taken have been off of ESPN Bet. So that was Lions -6.5. Now I was going to ask
okay,
you, would you take it -6.5?
yeah.
Okay. So Jack's got a -6.5. What'd you have, Jay?
No way.
This is a real shame.
This is. I really didn't copy your picks. I just put my picks in there.
Um,
Jay, Jack decided to go opposite anyway.
should I decide to go opposite is the question.
Oh man.
No, I have to go with what I think, and
And also I really didn't look at your picks at all before I put those in. I didn't see your picks until I put them into the doc an hour ago.
yeah, I think the Lions win -6.5. It's not that big of a number. They played earlier this year, and the Lions were able to beat them by 2 touchdowns. Playoff games are totally different. You can throw those games out, really, but what you can't throw out is you're going to have Baker against a pretty good pass rush and Hutchinson coming after him. and I could see him getting home on Baker for a couple sacks and maybe pressuring him into an interception or two. So I'll take the Lions, and that hot team and that fan base that building is going to be absolutely rocking.
Yeah.
So give me the 6.5, and I'll take the Lions to cover.
3 in a
Well,
row. Unbelievable.
this was a sweep because I'm taking the same thing. Lions minus 6.5. The Lions are not that Eagles defense,
Bet
and
the house payment on the Bucks.
yeah, yeah. Baker's been a nice story this year, and but that, like you said, that defense of the Lions and that home crowd environment, I think they're going to be just too much for the Buccaneers. And I tell you, I don't know who to pull for, Lions or Packers, because I like both of them. And the thing about the Lions is my man in the stands on that they show 66 years he's had season tickets. I'm so happy for that man. And I know all the franchises, a lot of franchises have stuff like that, but
Yeah.
dang man, I'd like to see that man get one. I don't remember what they said his age was, maybe 80 something. 66 years as a season ticket holder of the Lions.
He's a young man compared to that nun for Chicago State a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
He ain't
no.
101, but he deserves one. I mean, he has really put up with some stuff. 66 years. I'm pulling for. I think I got to pull for the Lions just for that guy. And
Yeah.
if you're out there, tune in. We got a great podcast. I wish I could get his name and a handle for him so I could send him.
You're worried that this is going to be you with the Redskins come however long, 30 years or whatever, huh?
I hope not.
If you said a handle, the only handle that man got is a liquor bottle. You don't know what a handle is at 88 or 6.
If you've been to Lions games for 66 years, you've definitely put a few liquor bottles down for sure. Good God. He was like the male version of a nun, and then the Lions turned him to drinking, and he's an alcoholic now. But dang, I got to pull for the Lions. I like that. I do like the Lions story, and they're tough. And in Detroit, 6.5. I think they may win by double digits too.
Yeah.
The last one of the weekend is the Bills and the Chiefs. This is a fun game. Over under 45.5. Spread of Bills -3. The Chiefs haven't had Mahomes hasn't had to go on the road to win a playoff game like this, and going to Buffalo is a tough environment. But Jay, what you got on this one?
Yeah, this is the first true road playoff game for Mahomes. And, Bills fans and even the coaches and players have said, man, we just want them in our house for one of these games because every year it seems like they're going to Kansas City. So they finally get that. I don't know who's going to win this game because if you're going to give me points with Mahomes and you're telling him all week that he's an underdog, he's got a good defense, and the weather's not supposed to be that bad. So, and they're both cold weather teams anyway. I'm going to stay away from the who wins and the points and just say over 45.5 points. I think Mahomes and Allen both have good days. I'm not sure who's going to win, honestly. I tend, if I had to bet, I would take the Chiefs in 3.5. Anytime you can get more than a field goal, that's what I would take. But
Well, we're at 3.
So
We're
Jay,
at 3.
do you know what my pick is for this game? Have you looked?
oh God, no! Please don't tell me.
So I got the Chiefs Bills over 45.
So
Is 45 right? Is that the right over under?
well,
I had
40.
45.5. But
Okay,
45.
45.5. Okay. Chiefs
45.
Bills over 45.5. I think this is the hardest game to call. This game should be a good game. And the Chiefs offense, I mean, Patrick Mahomes can only do so much for him and Travis Kelce. Even then, Travis Kelce is dropping balls everywhere too. So, but you got to take an over under this one. You can't call the spread. And I'm just gonna hope that it's an absolute shootout like it normally is every year.
Well, so I am going to call the spread, but I can make an argument both sides, and so Jay, I had the spread at 3 when I
Okay.
did it on ESPN Bet, but it doesn't matter because y'all took over on. I took the Bills at -3, and I can argue for the Chiefs at +3. The Bills have been rolling, and that play Josh Allen made on Monday night, that run 50 whatever yards, which is ridiculous. I'm thinking he's going to slide 20 yards in, and
Yeah.
he keeps going, and I'm thinking he's going to keep going for 5 more yards, and he busted through. And that's the kind of plays that Josh Allen can make. But if you tell me between Mahomes and Allen, who might make the stupid pick or fumble, yeah, I'm gonna say Josh Allen. So that's the flip side. The only difference for me is the game's in Buffalo, and that's why I'm picking Buffalo. Like at some point, the Bulls had to finally beat the Pistons to get to the finals. The Bills got to get by the Chiefs, and so I'm gonna say this is the year. I hope
Chris
it's the
Denny will
year.
be happy
What's
if he's
that?
listening. Our boy, our fan, Chris Denny. He'll
Yeah,
be
Chris. This is for you.
happy.
I'm a Bill. I'm pulling for the Bills to get to that Super Bowl, and I hope it happens. I'd like to see them go ahead and beat the Chiefs. They've got more weapons than the Chiefs, I feel like, but that Josh Allen, he can Jekyll and Hyde you too. He'll have a good game, but he still could. Those turnovers, just don't make a silly turnover. Is all I'm
So if it was
saying.
3.5, you would also take the Bills, I assume.
Yeah. I'm taking. But I'd be nervous either way.
Yeah.
I
Like
wouldn't
I
miss
said,
the game.
I could argue the Chiefs. This is the game I'm most looking forward to watching.
Yeah.
So give me the
Yeah.
Bills -3, and
That's the
then
last game of the weekend for a reason.
and then you'll have Bills. In my opinion, you'll see Bills Ravens, and I believe 49ers Lions. And I picked all favorites with the spread, so we know odds of that happening are slim to none. So,
Right.
but I I've got all favorites this week. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I think that's going to about wrap us up, Jack.
Yeah.
We got any
Um,
closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sure Jay's really shivering in his boots now that he found out that we're sharing all 4 picks. That's kind of wild.
That's embarrassing.
Well, either
That's hard for me to hear.
Yeah.
That is really
And I
hard
tell you
for me
what,
to hear.
I'm sitting back right now, grinning ear to ear. Turn the lights off. Turn the lights off. No lights needed.
I don't know what to tell people to do
because you're confident in your picks, but when you got me over here,
19. So
I thought that cheating wasn't allowed. I think Jack looked right at your paper and
I really didn't look at
cheated
his
off my
thing.
test like you did in art history, Jeff.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said he cheated off my picks like you did in art history.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh God!
I wonder if David Lowe is listening to this one.
It didn't do me that good.
Man. Well, yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this one. We appreciate all of you tuning in, and thanks again to Kendren Smith. That was an awesome interview. Awesome to talk to him. So thank you. We appreciate you. Be sure to follow all the socials at Talk UVA Sports on Twitter, at Cavalier Connection on Facebook, at Cavalier Connection on YouTube, and of course on Spotify, the Cavalier Connection podcast. Closing thoughts, guys, Dad?
Go Who's this weekend? Let's get that first road win at Georgia Tech. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let's go beat Georgia Tech, get something going for the season.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Jay?
Let's carry that momentum and pretend you're at JPJ. And yeah, like you said, Jack, thanks to Kendren and we just we're really thankful for him coming on and excited to have him in the program. So with that said, go Hoos.
Go Hoos.